Joe, Texas Tech versus Houston. When you look at the Texas Tech Red Raiders coming off a couple of weeks ago, a massive win versus Utah. And you got Houston that's sitting there with a pretty damn good record in what is going to be a really, really tough test in the Big 12 here. Your thoughts on how this game's going to play out?
Texas Tech, by the way, favored 11.5 on FanDuel for anyone who's looking to bet on this game. Blake, I'm excited for another opportunity to see what Texas Tech is going to do. And we were so hyped up after the performance that they had against Utah. And the way that they played. And I think that this Houston team is plucky. I don't think that this Houston team is going to really provide them with a serious challenge. I don't think that this is going to be a game where how many Houston football fans are there, Blake? Don't act like I'm going to get clipped for saying something like that. I don't think that they're going to get a serious challenge from this Willie Fritz-led Houston team. They have rebounded. They have improved. They've started to get better. They've looked more competitive than I think anybody anticipated they were going to be. But Blake, I think this is going to be one of those games where we're talking about after, like, holy shit. Did you see what Texas Tech just did? Did you see the point? Did you see the way that offense was moving? But to just open the door for that conversation for this segment, that's the very first thing that I want to talk about here, man, is I think that Texas Tech is going to really make a statement again.
Texas Tech has the talent edge. They have the line of scrimmage edge. They, in my humble opinion, have the coaching edge. And that's exactly what made Willie Fritz Willie Fritz. Mm-hmm. Because in every single times that Willie has got into these situations, year 2 of a program, he finds one of these games and beats somebody that he's not supposed to. Literally. This one's going to be close. It's the Willie Fritz special. It is the Willie Fritz special, Joe. We got a dogfight in the Big 12. Now, there is not an area when you look at them on paper that Texas Tech, from a position battle standpoint, is better than them. Doesn't exist. Offensive line, Texas Tech. Quarterback, even with Conner Weigman, check. Run game, check. Receivers, check. DBs, check. Every single area, Texas Tech has the talent. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, and this is my question for Texas Tech. You've gotten a lot of buildup and a lot of hype these last couple of weeks. How do you respond to it? It ain't got, for me, it has absolutely nothing to do with the talent on the field. It has absolutely nothing to do with the coaching on the field. It has everything to do with how are you going to respond to success? Because I look at your passing game, you're number 1 in the country. You're explosive. You might be the best passing attack in the country right now based off of what you did in the portal. How do you respond to that success, though, Joe? And when teams emerge, and I don't want to say come out of nowhere, but a team that struggles the year prior and they come in and you got a lot of new pieces and you're trying to figure things out, how do you respond to that success? What is going to happen with their quarterback situation? What are they going to do there? If some things go awry this week, does Hammond come in? I don't think he does, but I'm just saying there's not a place where they're not more talented. Now is the biggest challenge that you've had in the Joey era. How do you respond to this high levels of success? Because now you're there. Joe, now everybody's talking about Texas Tech being a playoff team. It has nothing to do with what they're going to like. Everything that revolves around is how do you respond? Now, I throw this your way, and I know you're going to push back. Florida State had a lot of momentum this past Friday and got whooped by a team that no one saw coming out of anywhere. They got whooped, and they couldn't tackle. How do you respond to success is going to be the biggest factor in this game for Texas Tech. Now, here's where I'm at. I think they're going to respond well to it, and I think they're going to take it to them. But at the same time, now that you've put yourself on that map, you've put yourself on the map of, Joe, they're clipping us. And we look. There's been nobody in the national media besides us that's rode the Red Raiders more than us. We are a McGuire fan base. Now you got to respond to success. And that's going to be what it's going to tell me more about your culture and things of how you're building from within. More, Joe, is the Utah win fantastic? Yes. Can you respond to that success is the ultimate question, because Willie Fritz in year 2 beat the top-ranked opponent in 3 of his last 4 stops in year 2 of a program. Ask Tulane how that works. I mean, this is the Willie. I'm telling you, do not look past this, because you're going to look up and be like, uh-oh, here comes Willie.
I'm gladly going to look past them. And look, to give a couple of pieces of props to Houston, Conner Weigman has done really well.
I spent 10 minutes.
Yes, you couldn't sell me on. You couldn't sell me on that one bit. No, absolutely not. I'm not going to get sold. I think Conner Weigman has shown some signs of improvement in a better environment. And again, I've been a Willie Fritz supporter. Houston also, by the way, is the number 1 team in the country in EPA per dropback. They're also number 3 in the country in havoc rate. So there's going to be a bit of a challenge here for trying to slow down that pass rush. But here's the thing. They haven't exactly been challenged. In their last game, you've got a common opponent between these two teams. You have to go to overtime against Oregon State if you're Houston. And I look at Texas Tech, and they just they smoked them.
Dog walk.
Yeah, they completely walked them. There was nothing that Oregon State could even do to stay even in a realm of competitiveness in that game. I know that we don't try to do transitive properties, and I don't like that concept when we do predictions, but when you have 2 completely stark differences in outcomes between those 2 teams, I think that that's notable for bringing up. Blake, I also like to add, this is just more of a note, Behren Morton returned to practice this week, and he is expected to play, it seems like. I don't want to speak too declaratively on a Monday because anything can happen, and we know that coaches love
but he's out of the concussion protocol.
Yeah, he's out of the concussion protocol. But at the same time, they couldn't be in better positioning to have Hammond play the way that he did against Utah and to feel comfortable about the next up-and-coming player that they have. So I'm not ultimately very worried there. Like the biggest part that this all comes down to, I do not believe that Houston is going to have the bodies on their offensive line to go toe-to-toe with this incredibly physical and dominant defensive line that Texas Tech showed that they have against Utah. This group against one of the best offensive lines in the country for Utah, with Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu, we saw some production that was had going up against Devin Dampier. And Weigman is not nearly as mobile as Dampier
at
is.
all.
I think that Romello Height, David Bailey are going to have themselves another productive game, and that to me is the biggest hinging point. While Houston has done a good job of producing some pressures on the teams that they've faced, they have not gone up against a solid offensive line like this one for Texas Tech.
Well, let's talk about that. And so the physicality that Texas Tech showed a couple of weeks ago is really starting to open eyes, man. I mean, like that's the point. Is when you think of Texas Tech, and again, we said this in the preview of the Utah game, and then the recap. Joe, they're all over the place defensively, and I don't think Dampier's slow, and they're running him down. They're dog walking him. Okay, in some situations. If you can get after Conner Weigman, we've seen and why he left A&M, that he's going to make bad decisions. And I think of like a DC like Blake Baker when Weigman got benched. What did they do? They sent pressure after him and they made him throw the football and he didn't make good decisions. You got to get after him this week because I think that's still there. And I don't think that he has overcome that yet. But, Joe, again, show that you can handle success, right? Like, show that you can handle being a top dog. Because with all due respect to Texas Tech, I don't know how you view yourself from within, but the truth of the matter is in the Big 12, you are the top dog right now. Nobody is sitting there like you are. And I get that, like TCU fell this week, and BYU was able to hold on against Colorado, but everyone looks at you as the top dog in the Big 12. Joe, they're a playoff team right now. Easily. And so you get into a place in time where if you handle that success and handle business, then fine. Then you've shown that this is not a fugazi. This isn't a fluke. But again, Joe, I do think Houston's going to get dominated on both lines of scrimmage.
That's the simplest point for me why I think that Texas Tech easily handles them. I do not think that they have the bodies to keep up with them. I will give, by the way, a shout out to and some credit. One player that Texas Tech needs to be aware of, Dean Connors, the running back for Houston, is tremendous player. He transferred in from Rice. He is a guy in back-to-back seasons at Rice, was a 1,000-yard scrimmage guy as a receiver and a running back. So he's somebody that they're going to need to keep a close eye on and not to allow him to get going in space because he is a tremendous runner.
You've got this,
you have this nice little tandem, but at the same time against Utah, they shut down an offense that was starting to look very, very good for that Utes team.
But see, here's the thing. You do draft coverage and you think Utah's got a couple of first rounders on that unit, correct?
Yes.
They dog walked them.
That's my point.
Right. And so if that is the unit that shows up yet again, which you did that on the road, then we'll see. But look, man, I think Texas Tech rolls here. I think they're going to handle the success well, and they're going to keep pushing. And I think Terrence Carter is the biggest X factor that no one's really talking about in the country right now. What he does for them from a run game standpoint and a passing game standpoint has been absolutely insane.
Yeah, Texas Tech, by the way, their next real challenge after this game, they are going to get Arizona State on October 18th, which is now ranked, and they're also going to get BYU. But the rest of the schedule, and I don't think BYU is as good as they've been piped up to be. The rest of the schedule, dude, is so favorable. It would be really disappointing if they dropped this one. But again, I think they're going to cover that 11.5 point spread on FanDuel, and they're going to be completely fine. But I don't see a slip up point on this. I really don't.
Okay.